the one thing that I just wanted to say up front is I'm not going to answer any questions about the coaching search. I realize that there's a lot of speculation and everything else out there, but in fairness to, the people that have been under consideration, that are under consideration, I want to make sure that we're, doing this the right way. So there will be a time and place to talk about that. But I know there will be a lot more questions about the trade. Thank you.
All right. And with that, we'll start with John Corrales.
Hey, Brad, as far as the timing of this trade is done in this current league year versus the next league year, was the timing of that, did that have anything to do with preserving the ability to trade next year's first round pick? Do you anticipate that being something that you're looking to do?
I think, we talked about several iterations of it. Obviously, we felt that one of the things that we wanted was the ability to be, unencumbered moving forward and kind of have a road ahead. And we have a lot of things that we have to address appropriately. And, this was really hard. This was not the ideal first few weeks on the job move, just because of the kind of person that Kemba is and the kind of professional he is and how good of a player he is and continues to be. And so a lot of hard calls, but that part with this year's pick versus maybe future picks, that was a big driver in making this decision.
Keith Smith.
Brad, on to the trade first, how did it feel to be kind of on that side of it versus the coach side? And then how different is it for you having to think more maybe long range versus more short range, immediate with the team and how you're putting it together?
No, I mean, it's that's not too challenging. I mean, you're always thinking, I think one of the things about being a head coach, I mean, oftentimes I think coaches get a little bit of a bad rap for just prioritizing the near term, but you're always thinking about the big picture, whether that's managing minutes for an 82 game season, whether that is, playing guys in, certain rotations and lineups that you're interested for the now and the later. And whether that is just the big picture of the organization and where you see yourselves down the road. There's different ways to get there when you're coaching with regard to development and growth. And I think sometimes that gets misconstrued as well. So the long range versus the short range is not difficult. The most challenging part is being in that seat and having to make that call, and ultimately say, yeah, we're going to do that. When you're talking about a guy like Kemba. And, again, that's, coached him for 2 years. I have nothing but great things to say about him. Really good teammate, really good player, really good person, easy to be around every day. And so, and I think that that's what made it the most difficult part of it, obviously.
Gary Washburn.
Hey, Brad. Why did you make the deal? And secondly, you talked about the difficulty of making the deal. Was it more difficult than you thought trading someone you were emotionally attached to? I mean, all these guys you've coached, and all these guys you've had private, deep conversations. So one, why did you make the trade? Why was it necessary? And two, how difficult was it to get over the fact that you were close to these guys emotionally?
Well, I think that's right. Part of the job change, right? But it is difficult because I really, for instance, just really like Kemba, period. Like, end of story. There's, he is a super likable person. And again, I think the deal was made, and, I'm sure it's been talked about on the outside and everything else, but there are a couple of things, right? Is we had to look at, with the idea of moving that first round pick this year, right? It gave us the opportunity to look at a a road ahead with a few more options from a financial flexibility standpoint. With all of our future, first round picks past this year, which again gives you more options. And then, it was the best deal that we thought with regard to, returning players, right? I mean, the idea or the opportunity to add Al, who makes significantly less money, but is a really good player that has corporate knowledge of this environment, that is really excited to be back in Boston and is has a good feel for not only playing with our guys, but also has made them better. And I think that his ability to pass, his ability to play a couple of positions, but certainly stretch the floor against bigs, and his ability to guard guys are all, very good, but his impact on others and his ability to lift others is, one of his great strengths. So to have the ability to get that in return and gain financial flexibility moving forward, the cost, right, was a person that you really, really like, and, one first round pick.
Mark Murphy.
Hey, Brad.
Hi, Mark.
Considering all the players on the roster now who were all young draft picks, does it become more important moving forward to bring in some more veteran support like Al for the Jays?
Yeah, I think that is an important thing. I think we have to be smart about it. But whether in free agency with the limited means we have, because we're up against it in a lot of ways right now, or in extending our own players, or in looking for people on from the outside with regard to trades. I do think that experience and been there, done that is a good thing. But again, you have to be smart about it, and we have a lot of promising young players, and so there's a balance there, and it's a balance that we've been walking, I think, for a while. And I think that what we need to do is continue to see great growth out of those players, and ultimately decide who makes our best players better. And that's why we wanted kind of a open road ahead.
Tim Bontemps.
Hey, Brad, you said back on June 1st after Game 5 that you had enough information to kind of see where this team could get better and where it needed to get better to get to where you guys want to go. Beyond the financial flexibility part of this deal, in the bigger picture, what are some of those things that you think that you need to accomplish this summer to start getting you guys back on the path you want to be on?
Well, we'll go through that and evaluate. I mean, there's so many things that impact how a team functions together and how well it plays together. We obviously have a really good foundation, and have very talented young players, and so I think that that's a good place to be. And then it's about finding the right fit. There are near-term decisions that can help you improve, and there are longer-term decisions that you have to make with the idea of being in the mix. And ultimately, we want to be in the mix. And so there's a lot to consider with that. And every decision that we make has to be geared towards improving, getting better, but then getting into the mix at some point in the hopefully the very near future.
Tom Westerholm.
Hey, Brad. Just what do you think the addition of Al means for Rob, both in terms of leadership and somebody he admired when they were played together previously, but also in terms of kind of current minutes?
Well, first of all, I think again, like everybody, Rob probably was it's bittersweet, right? Because you have, a person that you really love and have enjoyed playing with and has had a great impact on you and Kemba, and then a person that you learn from and kind of, took under his wing when he first got here and now. So I think that, Rob is a guy that really, really wants to be good. He is a listener. He wants to improve. He will, he'll lean on every word Al says, obviously. And I think, they can help make each other better. And I think with those guys and Tristan and Moses, and then we still got Taco on his contract. We have a lot of decisions to make, but also a lot of flexibility. Those guys are, you're talking about some really good players at that position. And so, we'll see how it all shakes itself out.
Brian, Rob.
Hey, Brad, just following up on that, could you envision this team going forward next season with that, with so many big men in that spot, with a lot of talent there? Or is that a spot where, again, you might be looking to help out in other areas of the roster? And also your thoughts on Moses Brown, bringing just his potential, bringing him in as part of the deal.
Yeah, I mean, we like Moses as an upside player. Obviously, I think, we saw the best of Moses in our game, but he's a guy that, got a bigger taste of the NBA this year and had great opportunity when he did play. He put up numbers. And so, he's a guy that we're excited to learn more about and work with and see how, he fits with our group. Again, I think, the ability to make, our wings better is going to be a huge part of, the people that will be around them. And then with regard to the bigs, I mean, that just becomes a longer discussion, Brian, without getting into specifics of, can guys play together? Can you do the double big thing with certain groups? Or there certain guys that would pair better together? I think that, I do think, for instance, Tristan's ability to switch and Tristan's ability to rebound allows him to play with a spacer, right? Like Al, who also has a lot of flexibility. Rob's ability to play in the dunker and getting Al on the seams and playing with a lob game and those type of things gives you flexibility. So, those are things that we're going to have to figure out. That won't be as much my decision once those times come. Once the roster's set, I will be out of that. So then it'll be, whoever the coach is can figure out how they want to utilize everybody. But we'll try to get an idea of how guys could possibly play together.
And just as a follow-up on that, in terms of, I know you mentioned not want to talk about the coaching search, but was there thought to waiting on making a deal like this until you guys didn't make that hire for the coach to, integrate them into the process a little bit?
I mean, we talked about everything, but there's obviously it was an early deal, but it felt like it was the right one. Again, not easy, but the right one. And we didn't feel like waiting, especially with, again, the ability to get a return player of Al's caliber, experience, and leadership, that made sense to wait.
Jared Weiss.
Hey, Brad. I'm wondering how different the experience was of deciding to have to actually trade a player who is well-liked versus in your roles of coach, generally just allocating minutes and role. And to follow up on what you just said, how much do you plan to be involved in, guiding and structuring the coach's activity versus just providing mentorship and guidance from afar?
I'm just there to support them. I don't know how good I can be at this job, Jared. That's to be determined. I'm pouring everything into it. It's been a lot of work in the first 17 days. It's been nonstop, or however many days it's been now. But the one thing that I should be good at is supporting the head coach and not being involved, not being, my door's open, but I do not want to be, anything but supportive. I've told everybody that I've talked to in a weird way, in kind of a messed up way. I'm looking forward to the first time we lose, and I can walk in there and put my arm around them and say, I've lost a ton here. Like, let's go get a coffee. Let's go grab a beer. Like, it's okay. Like, it's part of the long journey. Right. And so I think I'm looking forward to that, just being a support, and staying out of it from a coaching perspective. Trading people's hard. I mean, it was hard for Danny. It's hard for anybody. Being in the locker room with somebody or getting to know somebody and having a great deal of respect for them. Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, it's easy. One of the things that you learn is it's easy to be a person with an opinion in the room or outside the room. And it's a lot different when you got to make that call. Right. And so I think that I've already learned that in the first couple of weeks. And so, but we felt like it was the right move in the big picture for our organization. And sometimes you have to make those tough ones. Just didn't anticipate it being this soon.
All right. Last couple of questions for Brad. We'll go to Mark D'Amico.
Hey, Brad. Just with regard to Al, I'm curious, your coaching experience with him, how did that affect your comfort level of making this deal? And then just at his age, how much do you think he still has left in the tank to be able to really move the needle for you guys?
No, Al can move the needle. Al had a good year in Oklahoma City, obviously. Didn't play a ton of games. I think he played 28 or 29 games, but had statistically had a year that was, obviously, applies across the board. Again, I think that, sometimes the ability to space, pass, play in different ways and play in different coverages on the other end, be able to play with other bigs or as the lone five, I think is something that he just has a wealth of experience. Right. And so, yeah, that played a role. Again, I think the first thing was, it was really important to create a clear road ahead from the standpoint of financial flexibility. And then when you have the opportunity to bring back a player person, the caliber of Al Horford, who's really excited to be here, is it was something that we needed to move on.
Adam Himmelsbach.
Brad, as you kind of get going in this new role, how much have you been able to consult with current players on the team, specifically Jason and Jalen, if at all? And are you still having conversations with Danny these past few weeks?
Yeah, I talk to Danny all the time. I called him the other day and he was out, on a golf course. The day before I called him, he was with his family. But I still bug him, unfortunately, for him. And he obviously has such a vast experience in this, and is great to run everything by. And he's going to be around, and I told him, be around as much as you want to be around here, because he's done so much for all of us, and he's really, really good at this, obviously. And then with regard to players, yeah, I've stayed in close contact. I talked to several of the guys the other day right after it, and have been in very close contact throughout the last couple of weeks with both Jalen and Jason specifically. But that's not unusual. That's not it's pretty typical for whether I was in the coaching role or in this role.
Final question for Brad, Tim Bontemps.
Brad, in a different tack than the coaching search, you talked at your introductory press conference in this role about looking at stuff for the front office and figuring out what you're going to do there. Have you, beyond the coaching search, have you decided if you're going to add more people there, or is that something you're still contemplating as you're going through, like you said, figuring out what you want to do in this role?
Yeah, we're good. So I think the pressing things right now are to, and there's only so many hours in a day, right? Focus on the hiring of a head coach, try to, improve our team and, balance, as we talked about, that, getting better, but also getting in the mix, and, really striving towards that right now. And then, I think that the fair way to do this from this new role is to really kind of assess everything as over time and see how operationally we are, see what we need, see what we need to add. And we have a lot of good people here. And at the same time, I do think that we could, we'll probably become a more robust staff. And so, we'll see, we'll see how that goes. But that's kind of the priority list right now. I wish there were more hours in a day to be able to do it all at once, but I think that the smart move is to evaluate and observe, and then figure that out.